think the biggest talking point at the start of this season will still be everything that happened at the end of last season. It's going to take a while to lose that hangover.
Hopefully we are not going to be still talking about all the controversy that happened at Abu Dhabi. It'd be nice to have a real fresh start.
Obviously there is the Max and Lewis talk from the back end of last year, so that could still be a thing come the start of the season.
Is the racing going to be closer? We won't know until we get to the very first Grand Prix.
But I think that, give or take a few races, when we've maybe got some new winners or we've got some new teams winning, because we really don't know what's going to happen, then hopefully the rhetoric will change.
Lando Norris, he really got to grips really well with his McLaren, especially towards the end of the year. I know McLaren have put a lot of time and effort as well into their new car, so that's going to be really interesting.
Alex Albon at Williams, he had a tough time at Red Bull, but I do think in the Williams team, especially if Williams get more towards the front, which they'll be hoping to, I think he's probably one to watch.
But also George Russell, how he's going to line up against Lewis Hamilton. Obviously Lewis has had Valtteri there for many years, but George, he's young, fast and hungry, and he just missed out a couple of years ago on getting his first win in Bahrain, so I'm sure he's going to want to start off on the right foot.
More nervous than before I race. Push it, like a pro.
They called me the Ferrari on the pitch, you know. Let's go, Carlos. Ready, boss?
Ole!
You have some skills, huh?
It's all yours, my friend.
When you buy Ibrahimovic, you buy a Ferrari.
This guy. He's crazy, eh? Brake.
Yeah, adrenaline is crazy.
It seems a lot more amicable, the battle you have with Charles Leclerc, the man that's most likely to challenge you for the championship this year.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily it was between the drivers, it was mainly because a complete different approach between the teams last year and this year. And probably there's a bit more respect between the two teams as well this year. I think that helps a lot. And for sure, I know Charles for a longer time because we basically grew up together throughout racing and go-karting and all the way to Formula One. But I always had I still have a lot of respect for Lewis, and we always got on well. And also today, as racing drivers, you come together, but you also very quickly forget and just move on, because that's, the amount of times I've crashed with Charles in the past.
Oh, you did in karting?
Yeah, we did. But now we can laugh about it, So it just, racing drivers, they of course look at themselves. We want to do everything we can to win a race, and I think what is also the positive side about racing drivers, that we can forget very quickly and we just move on and just go to the next. Luckily, we also have a lot of races for that. But yeah, this year it seems all a bit calmer, and I just hope it stays like that and we can just have great races.
Let's just have a little recap on Monaco. What a weekend that was. That was a crazy Sunday. Torrential rain. Did Ferrari blow it? Did they hand it to Sergio Perez and Red Bull?
I think they did in some ways, but Carlos was quite unlucky getting stuck behind Latifi. So I believe Latifi had blue flags. I know Ferrari really weren't happy. They had blue flags for several laps. I think you're only meant to pass a blue flag or blue light 5 times, and he certainly, apparently according to Ferrari, did that a lot longer, didn't receive a penalty, but then that allowed Perez to come out the pits in front of him, and then we all know Monaco's not easy to overtake at all. So yes, they blew it a little bit with obviously Charles's strategy, but then they weren't helped by Latifi as well.
So a great win for Sergio Perez, and since then he has signed a contract that will keep him at Red Bull for the next couple of seasons. This was somebody who was on his way out of Formula One. He's really sort of like living his best life in the latter stages of his career.
How that has turned for him, who would have known? But no, he signed a new contract, and I think he really deserves it at Red Bull, and I think he really deserves a chance at the title. He's in the title hunt for me. I personally think he is in with a shot. It's just whether, you know, Red Bull maybe allow it with Max's performance, because Max, we know he's so strong.
Welcome everyone to the Channel 4 Combox for a miniature tour of what we see when we're here. We're in slightly earlier than Mark and Alice today. Just running through the screens that we get. So we get what you get at home on the main screen here. Then we've got a split of the timing pages. This is timing page 3, so we'll get all of the information from race control there. Timing page 1 is the same as it's been since the 90s, because it's not a very good idea to change the timing pages because it becomes a little bit like muscle memory. This is the data channel, which will tell you things about tyres, stint length, and the driver tracker. Very useful for Monaco when perhaps, due to the direction there, you don't always see the pictures that you might see. For instance, Yuki Tsunoda going deep at turn 1 was done off the driver tracker 1 week ago. We're back to the glorious FOM direction this weekend, so we might not need that as much, but certainly lap 1, that is a very, very useful tool. This is provided, the Azerbaijan flag provided by Channel 4. That changes every single race. But ultimately, in the heat of the moment, when you're into it, it's nose on this screen, and we're effectively calling it off what you see at home. There is no finer place to watch a Grand Prix. This is the happy place, the Channel 4 commentary box.
(1994), it was my second Grand Prix and it was my first ever point scoring finish. I qualified 5th and then ended up finishing in that exact same position. Back in those days, points were down to 6th place. A race was won by Michael Schumacher, with my then teammate Damon Hill finishing 2nd. I remember it not so much because it was my first point scoring finish, but it was a race in which I lost the feeling completely in my right foot due to some swelling in my lower back. Welcome to the realities of Grand Prix racing. It was a lot more physical than I'd ever experienced before in my career, and it was certainly an eye-opener to the level of fitness that was required going forward. I don't remember any big celebration of scoring my first points, because the reality is your focus is very much on trying to win. And the 94 car, although hadn't won any races up until that point, it was certainly a quick car. So there was never really, within the Williams team, celebrating a minor points finish. Of course, I was happy that I had my first points on the board, but it was just the first step on the ladder. Formula 1 has evolved considerably. So the paddock back in '94, we were all in small American motorhomes, Portaloos, and really the focus was just getting the cars on track. Today, the actual setting for the Grand Prix is the same, but we now have a very palatial paddock club, sizable team hospitality spaces, and garages that the actual mechanics can work normally. So like everything in Formula 1, it's evolved to fit the modern needs of the teams and mechanics.
All right, listen, quick one. When did you pass your test? How old were you?
17.
17?
17.
Okay, so not so long ago, so you should nail.
Not so long ago, it's 24 now.
Yeah. Well, I passed mine 27 years ago, so
no.
by comparison.
That's your practical, yeah. Theory? No, second.
Theory second?
Theory's the easy one. No, it's not. Yeah, I found my theory as well. See? Great stuff.
Well, this does not bode well, because we're going to do a bit of a theory test. I know. It's okay.
Go on.
Let's get through it.
Together.
Which lights should you use when you're driving in a tunnel? Side lights, front lights, or dipped headlights? Nice and easy one.
Dipped.
What was the second one?
Front spotlights.
Oh, dipped.
I don't even know what these are.
Yeah, correct. Dipped.
Oh, dipped.
Yeah, dipped. Nice and easy. You passed the idiot test. Well done. How can you identify traffic signs that give orders? They're triangular with a blue border, they're square with a brown border, or they're circular with a red border?
Circular with a red border.
I mean, that's a little bit too easy.
Brown border. Wait, because we might say wrong.
We'll get there. Let's kick it up a notch then, shall we? Which type of crossing allows cyclists to ride across with pedestrians? The toucan, puffin, or the pelican?
There is no such thing.
I think
there is. Wrong.
There is. I've heard of it before. The pelican?
Wrong.
Toucan.
Exactly, because Lando, because two can cross.
Yeah.
No way.
Nice.
Really?
It's not.
You're idiots, you lot.
There's not. There's no way it's two can cross.
No, that's the thinking behind it. It's the two can cross because two can't cross.
Remember yourself.
It's pronounced T-O-O-C-A-N.
I don't know why you're arguing. You got it wrong. You said the question didn't exist. All right, you're approaching traffic lights and the red light is showing. What signal will show next? Red and amber, amber alone, or green and amber?
Repeat the question.
You're approaching traffic lights and the red light is showing. What signal will show next?
Green.
Red and amber,
Yellow.
amber alone, green and amber.
Green.
Green?
Wait, was green an answer?
What was
No.
the first one?
Green and amber.
What was the first one?
Red and amber.
Red and amber. And the next one?
It's red and amber.
Amber alone.
Red and amber.
Amber alone. Let's be amber.
Red and amber. Red and amber.
Yes, George is correct. Red and amber.
I mean,
you said all three, I think. Didn't you?
No, I ended up
So
saying
when
red
it
and
goes
amber.
red to green,
By
it
the
goes
process of elimination.
red, amber,
Yeah.
green.
Yeah.
It doesn't do that on start lights here.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we go wrong.
3, 4, 5 red lights at Silverstone, and the British Grand Prix is go. Max Verstappen takes the lead on a big crash, car upside down.
A sandwich moment here. Joe Guan Yu, knocks a few cobwebs out.
The Halo has done an extraordinary job there. Mark, you only had big accidents in your career.
I didn't scratch him at all. I destroyed him. Boom. Done. Bang. Jeez, it was a pinball machine. Yeah, blag on it, mate. Suck it up, Buttercup.
That's not good if Paul the show, is it?
Lotion motion. Beer.
And the second start of the British Grand Prix is go. Carlos Sainz kept his foot in. Charles Leclerc is into the side of Sergio Perez.
Wow, what a start. And good was Sainz.
Absolutely phenomenal. Brilliant start to the British Grand Prix.
Any idea why it's called maggots? And he's still with me.
Oh, he's got one.
That could give the lead. And Max Verstappen is through.
Watch this.
You can smell it.
No way has that just happened.
I would not like to be those boys. You won't want to face France Toast in the debrief.
My God, this race.
The British Grand Prix is only available in box office. Lewis Hamilton is the fastest car on this racetrack.
Sainz is not wanting to play ball.
Boom, there it goes. Carlos is going to get a phone call very soon.
Our tyres going on.
Nothing in their split.
Lewis Hamilton leads in Formula One, and it's not the fastest stop either.
Hamilton on fresh tyres in front of 188 trillion people, and he's looking pretty handy.
Oh, problem for Esteban Ocon.
And Lewis will like a safety car too, kids.
And that's going to be safety car.
Both. Okay, so in comes Sainz, in comes Hamilton.
Softs. I'll be asking for softs.
Bad news for Max Verstappen. Carlos Sainz turns down the team's request. Charles Leclerc leads. Then it's Carlos Sainz who is on the defensive, not the attack. And the two Ferraris are side by side. Carlos Sainz takes the lead in the British Grand Prix. He's at their wheel to wheel. He is on the attack.
Hamilton somehow got down the inside of him in left field.
Oh, Hamilton's going to go to the inside of both of them. Listen to the roar. Magnificent racing at Silverstone. And it's wheel to wheel. Here comes Alonso.
Mate, I just wish the people at home could see your hairdo at the moment, Alex James.
He's got it. Then right. Apply the power. That's committed. No way. No way. Has Charles Leclerc done that? That is absolutely incredible stuff.
Watch Alonso.
Woo! Unbelievable move.
Here's Mick Schumacher. Carlos Sainz with Schumacher versus Verstappen to the line. Carlos Sainz wins the British Grand Prix, and he took his chance at the 150th attempt.
Is it weird not winning? It's weird for me. This is my 7th season in Formula One, and I've only ever really known you winning, and you not winning feels like finding out there's no Father Christmas. It's strange.
For me, it doesn't feel that way because it's not. My life has not always been like in the 7 years that you've seen. It's not always been like that. So, of course, I've had a lot of success throughout my career. But
a smidge.
Yeah, but no, you just change your kind of. You prioritize differently. You change your expectations, and you readjust and you dig. And that's what we're doing as a team. We're huddling together and we're working, and it's just different. There are people in my team who have only known success, winning championships, since they because they were young. But there are people who have been with the team for 20+ years, who have been through the Honda days and struggled, and you know, kind of revisiting partly. Obviously, it's not as bad as it perhaps was many years ago, but this is actually a really interesting period of time where we're pulling together, we're strengthening other areas that perhaps when you are winning like we were, perhaps don't get time to focus on improving.
Today, I would like to talk to you about a specific Grand Prix, Hungary 2021, your first win in Formula One. Now, I know a lot of drivers kind of have vague recollections of past races, but can I assume you remember that weekend quite well?
Yes, I do remember the weekend quite well, and
thank God, because this would have been rubbish if you could.
Exactly.
This would have been a bad piece, so thank goodness.
And yeah, we bring the trophy for the memory as well.
Incredible.
You know, when I cross the line, it's all these years of hard work and, you know, all these sacrifices that I made and that my family made my whole life, you know, to get to this moment, really. You know, there are 3 boxes that you need to tick in Formula One. The first one is to get there in Formula One. Second one is to win a race. And the third one is to win a title, and so far I've done 2.
Tick.
Yeah.
Box here, waiting for you.
There is the last one still to do, and that's what I'm working for. So, you know, it's that crazy journey that I'm living, and yeah, it's just a fantastic moment.
Yeah, no, maybe.
What is this? Frickin' Crufts. My standout moment for the first half of the season is bizarrely a crash, but the fact that Zhou Guanyu walked away after that horrendous crash at Silverstone is just testament to the safety of the cars. And then we actually went on to have a pretty incredible Grand Prix there as well.
For me, it was in Budapest, Hungary. Max Verstappen out of position in P10, never won from that far back. He came through the field, he even spun the car and still went on to win it.
Watching Fernando Alonso, of all people, in qualifying. I mean, Canada, he was on the front row. I remember watching that lap and thinking, wow, he could get pole position here. And it's just been so long since we've seen him up the front, so it was nice to see him come out of the car smiling.
Charles Leclerc's move around the outside at Silverstone was outstanding. It's my standout moment for the season as well, though, because I managed to destroy my headphones in the excitement of the moment. I put my foot through my headphones, so I had no idea how loud I was. I had no idea what David was saying, what Mark was saying. Great.
I absolutely loved the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Eddie Jordan was back, so that brought its whole new madness, but thankfully most of the excitement was on track. Joe walked away from that horrendous crash and then it was game on.
The race I enjoyed the most this year was the British Grand Prix. We had everything. We had a massive crash where thankfully the driver walked away, and we had some brilliant on-track action.
Silverstone, Silverstone and Silverstone. One of the great all-time Grand Prix. It was in the balance right till the end, and the atmosphere, the occasion, just phenomenal.
The race I've enjoyed the most on a selfish level this year has been Miami, because it was my birthday out there, and Miami's just mega. I remember having a cocktail that this big on the beach thinking, yeah, I could get used to a few more Grand Prix out here.
Daniel Ricciardo is back with McLaren, but only for 9 races. Day 1 back at school, and we've got some big news.
Yeah, I think the rumour mill has been going around for some time now. There hasn't been a happy camp there in terms of Daniel's performance. He's not happy with how much he was getting out of the car relative to Lando Norris, who has continued to impress in his relatively young career. And in the end, armed with the knowledge that they had 1 more year to run in this contract, when there is potential out there that McLaren wanted to scoop up, and we can get into that in a fuller way afterwards. But they've had to make that tough decision, and you could see a very emotional Daniel Ricciardo talking through the fact that he doesn't know where his future lies, but for now he will give his all in the remaining races, and we all hope, of course, that he's able to deliver the performance that McLaren thought they'd signed him up to do.
So Sebastian Vettel, if you remember from Hungary, said that he was retiring. Then day 1 of the summer break, Fernando Alonso said he was going to Aston Martin. Was that a shock?
I think to many it was. I don't want to appear like I'm some sort of visionary, and I would never have called that per se, but I've always had this mind in Formula One. If you can imagine it, it can happen.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, nothing shocks me.
What happened after that was that Alpine announced Oscar Piastri, this superb young talent who won everything in F2, has been on the sidelines for this year in Formula One, but the understanding was always that he would drive for Alpine. As soon as they put out that statement, Oscar then put out a statement saying he wasn't driving for Alpine. I mean, you can't make this up.
Well, he is managed by our own Mark Webber. Mark has good relationship with Andreas Seidel, who is the team manager, effectively, team principal of McLaren from his Porsche days. And they've obviously had a private conversation and looking at the future potential of Alpine. They've waited for an option to lapse that Alpine apparently didn't take up the option, and therefore they were able to sign to McLaren. You know, Mark's job as the manager is to make sure his man's in a race car guaranteed. At the point at which the option lapsed, clearly he didn't feel Alpine was going to give him that. Otherwise, I would assume they would have carried through on the journey they'd started.
At the moment, Max Verstappen firmly in control of the championship. There's going to be so many Dutch fans here. Is it going to be his weekend?
Well, it remains to be seen, are any teams taking penalties here? Because if you are going to take engine penalties, Spa would be a track that you would be more favourable than, say, Zandvoort, where it would be more difficult to overtake. Monza might be another option to take a penalty because it's a very open circuit. But in terms of racing and ability to overtake, this would probably be better than the other two. So teams may strategically take a penalty here. Ferrari have had some penalties, as we know, so they're probably not one of those teams. But Red Bull maybe Mercedes, it remains to be seen. Two questions. The first one is about the management of Lewis Hamilton, how much or little you have to do, and also this incredible journey now we have with George Russell, who has really shown what you had seen before and many others in the lower formulas, just what a great talent he is.
Lewis and I have been together now for 10 years. And in a way it was alpha males in a different situation that were put into this together with Nicky and the many very strong men and women that we have in the team. And it took a few years to synchronize that. And it was important to take your own ego out, because what I still see today with team principals and other business leaders is that they're trying to play the power game. I'm the team principal and you do what I tell you. And with Lewis, it was always very much on the same eye level. And I would say today we are friends, but we care. I care for him, he cares for me, and he cares for the team also. And you can see that on many occasions. We talk about the future also. And I think it's very easy. Lewis will be the first one to say, I can't do this anymore because I feel I haven't got the reactions anymore, or I've just lost fun doing it, and there is another generation growing up that's just very strong. So I have no doubt that whatever we agree on a contract extension, which is going to happen, that we both are always going to discuss very openly what does the future hold. On the same time, obviously George has been great joining the team. He's a good personality. He acts with integrity. He's very transparent. Working with Lewis, these two really have added to the team's development slope this year. And I feel very, very good and to have him in the team over the long term.
How far away do you think George is from being ready? Lewis is going to be around for the next year, 2 years, maybe 3 years. It'd be difficult to imagine him still doing it at 40, but he still seems to have the passion.
I think, I don't know if 40 is that age where you say, well, that's not adequate anymore for a racing driver. If you look at where Fernando is with 41 years, he's still very much there. So I think Lewis, with the way he leads his life, with the full ultra-narrow focus on his Formula One racing, all the others are just hobbies, I think can take it quite far. As for George, we just need to provide them with the car that they're capable to win races and championships. And if we can do that, George can become a world champion, and Lewis can add another title to his 7. It really comes down to us what good job we can do as a team.
I'm at Red Bull Racing and I'm in the arena and I'm about to have a crack on this simulator. So the force be with me. Okay, here we are. Preparation for the lap. Very important to get a good run out of the last corner there. Up the hill, extremely quick section of the circuit. We will see a lot of overtaking in this section of the circuit as well. Over the crest, sensational feeling for the driver, heavy on the brakes into turn 1. Make sure you position the car here for a nice exit down the hill, and then you're in good shape on the long back straight down towards turn 4. DRS open as well. 8th gear, heavy braking into 4. A little bit of patience in the apex and then get a good run out of there. Up the hill, very narrow part of the circuit here, extremely narrow. Fast into turn 6, 7, up over the crest again. A lot of undulations in this circuit, which I absolutely love doing this race here, and so do the guys today. Through 8 and 9, out of here, into 10, easy to lock the front right into this corner. Traction out of here, very important. Very physical through here too on the neck, very, very heavy load through there for the drivers. Again, last corner. And I'm on my way. I hope it's enough. Up the hill, watching the upshift lights, making sure the driver gets those right. I'm crossing the line. Have I done enough? Boom. A 1:10.1. I think I can make a comeback.
Over the last couple of years, what we've always known with Max is he's got absolutely devastating speed and car control and the ability to adapt to conditions and feel the absolute limit of the car. And I think what we've seen with him over the last couple of years is his mental strength. You know, the campaign in 2021, going up against obviously a much more experienced driver, the intensity of it, the pressure of it, the way he handled that. And I think that, you know, coming through that, then that just freed him for this year. And with that experience and knowledge, I think he's just made another step. He's driven with tremendous maturity this year. He's made virtually no mistakes compared to any other driver he has had. You know, he's damaged a front wing end plate, I think, so far this season. And he's driven, you know, with tenacity, with conviction, but he just hasn't made mistakes. And that it's been an incredible performance by him. And I think his confidence is obviously high, and I think that, again, that mental strength under pressure, under key moments when he's had to deliver, you know, it's never let him down.
He did an amazing job. He has done generally just through the whole year. He's done a fantastic job. Very consistent. There's been no problems with us in terms of our working relationship. And yeah, just really proud of him. I think he drove exceptionally well.
Sergio fuming. I imagine he'll be quite upset with his teammate. I use the term loosely, teammate Max Verstappen, because as we heard, GP got in touch with Max, asked him to move aside for Checo, because Checo, as we know, is in a heated battle with Leclerc right now, heading into Abu Dhabi a week from now. Max refused. He said, I have my reasons, don't ask me again. After everything that Checo has done for Max and sacrificing so much of his own races for the good of the team and for the good of Max, I am stunned he wouldn't move aside. And by the way, can I just say, I don't know what Max's reasons are, but as a fan of racing and this team, I'm surprised that he did not move aside.
It's a bit multi-21 springs to mind, doesn't it? I mean, I'd be fuming if I was Sergio. I'd be really fuming. Like you said, everything he's done for Max and, you know, helped him, especially last year, defended for his life against Lewis Hamilton, then to have an opportunity there, and okay, it's second in the Drivers' Championship, but for Max not to let him through, yeah, it's not good.
Your F1 career to date has been exclusively with the Red Bull family. Alpine next year. French team, 2 French drivers. That's rather exciting.
That's definitely exciting. It's first time for me that I'll completely change environments. As you say, I've been with Red Bull my entire career in F1. No, I'm completely leaving, closing this chapter and starting a new one with Alpine. Yeah, just can't wait to join. Forces with them and partner with Esteban and try to keep pushing that team forward and take them to the next level.
Is it annoying for you that the goons in the media, subhuman scum, a lot of them, keep pushing this narrative that you and Esteban are not friends?
I know they like to sell this
They're
story.
Disgusting, a lot of them.
I mean, for me, at the end, it's no secret to anyone we have had our ups and downs with Esteban in our relationship, but at the end of the day, he's the guy I know since the longest. I know him since 20 years. I'm only 26, you know. At the end of the day, kind of makes me laugh because medias are really focusing on this story and trying to push it, but just look down the pit lane. It's like you have rivalry inside every single team, and if someone doesn't understand that, the most important is to have a healthy one, as long as it doesn't become toxic for the race team. But if you look in Red Bull, if you look in Ferrari, if you look in McLaren, also in Alpine, Fernando and Esteban at the moment, it's not new to anyone that you have a rivalry inside the team, but you both got to be mature enough and smart enough to push the team forward. When it gets to the track, then everybody tries to do their best and got to stay respectful. Yeah. But I mean, it just, for now, I see obviously all the articles and people would like to push on that story, but I'm not really worried for that.
Quiet, please. You, David. Cue lights.
This is the story of a main character, a protagonist, a boy born to perform. He had talent. No doubt. Chasing his destiny. But a talent, too, for attracting the wrong kind of attention.
And once more.
A talent, too, for attracting the wrong kind of attention. Too reckless. Too wild. Taking too many risks.
Sweet, all right, we're good to go,
And these elements will kind of build around you with smoke and stuff, so we kind of see Max as a boy before, and then you'll kind of disappear into this kind of storyline. We need to get some VFX effects of you stood there, so just...
Maybe he wasn't the lead we were looking for. Not that he cared. He was taking that limelight by any means necessary.
Cameras at speed. Action.
Some said it wasn't fair, that it wasn't right, wasn't clean.
Okay, camera set, happy.
So what does our main character do then? He inhabits the part and sets out to prove he does deserve it.
And that's made worse when you know who's coming for you.
That's made worse when you know what's coming. Gwen's threat. A stride, a prancing horse.
Just like again.
So what do? To prove you've got what it takes? You perform. You take your performance to another level. You find another layer, a greater depth, a higher gear, and you go on, and on, and on, and on, and on! You send it out to the gods! You proved your talent. You own the stage. Take a bow, Max Verstappen. Dutch liar! Our leading man has become, at last, a true hero.
Sweet. Cool. I'm happy with those.